Well, after the release of the WikiLeaks documents, many in America are now questioning national security. And of course, that is a bit reminiscent of 9/11. Well, after that day, the fear of Islam in the United States became so rooted that the term Islamophobia was established. For more, I'm joined live by RT's correspondent, Anastasia Turkina. She's in our New York studios with more. Anastasia?
Well, Jihan, doesn't it seem sort of strange to you that we have to even have this discussion at this day and age in the 21st century? I think it's very important to consider the timing that the issue of Islamophobia has come about. It's surprising that this is a time when there's really no taboos around anymore. It seems that it's very hard to really shock people with anything who have seen it all at this point. But, you know, instead of actually people sitting down, discussing their fears, discussing what Islam is really all about, discussing what it has been, with the kind of stereotypes that have been created about this in the recent years. Instead, what we really seem to be seeing is really a booming of stereotyping of this religion. And religious intolerance in the United States is something that at this point, as a concept, is considered to be, you know, tasteless, to say the least, if not something from the caveman era. Yet what we're seeing happening is really a peaking of a very anti-Islamic position in the United States. And of course, for some people, this really is an example of double standards, whereas for others, some people are calling for what they call an end to the Islamization of America. And this is what our report today is about. Take a look.
Has the religion of Islam turned into a source of fear in the U.S.? While the American media has been doing a heck of a job fueling phobias,
prove to me that you are not working with our enemies.
Some have had enough.
Osama bin Laden became the poster boy for all Muslims. There are 1 billion Muslims in the world. This one guy symbolized all Muslims for most Americans, because Americans are so politically uneducated, unaware of what's going on in the rest of the world. Our TV doesn't report it. Our schools don't teach about it.
A latest estimate from the Council of American Islamic Relations says there are 7 million Muslims currently living in the U.S. There are no exact numbers available, however. The American Census Bureau does not collect data on religious identification. But this identifying yourself with a religion, or rather standing behind it, is exactly what seems to have been spreading paranoia across the United States. Islamophobia as a term became commonly used in the U.S. only after the attacks of September 11th.
That racism is alive, well, and kicking, with its main focus now on Muslims. I think after 9/11 is when the big shift happened, because 9/11 was largely about demonizing Muslims. And the recurring images that we get every couple of months of a new car bomber or an underwear bomber or a shoe bomber, the impression is that Muslims are crazy. The popular impression.
Over half of American Muslims reportedly believe that the U.S. government's anti-terrorism policies have been singling them out. 25-year-old Mohammed says he is stereotyped every single day of his life.
You go to work, ask for a job, like, so they check your name and your name is Mohammed, and they kind of, like, you know, skip you, like they rather hire the next person instead of you. Like, basically sometimes too, like when I travel, like, you know, in the airport and all that, like, you got double checked because of the name and all that.
A wave of protests has taken place in New York. The Muslim community wants just 2 of their religious holidays to be days off in schools.
It's only 2 days. I mean, if Christmas holiday to get a 10-day break, why cannot we have 2 days? It's elementary.
I want the school system, Michael Bloomberg, Chancellor Klein, to close the schools on Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr. They have the abilities, they have the power, they can do it if they wish to. Because the Muslim kids are as much as part of this community as everyone else.
To many, this non-inclusion in the education system is just the tip of the iceberg. Projects to build a number of mosques around the U.S. have also unveiled whatever skeletons of intolerance were remaining in the closets.
We're going to use a simple search system to try to see exactly what the deal is with the number of mosques in New York compared to locations representing other religions. This is what you get for Catholic churches, all of these red dots right here. This is what you get for synagogues in New York, and this is what you get for mosques. A staggering difference that really speaks for itself.
A planned Islamic center and mosque just steps away from Ground Zero is the biggest such project fueling resistance right now.
Nobody in their right minds would have any problem with that, but of course the Islamophobes, including people who've been brainwashed by the 9/11 inside job and the people who orchestrated it, are going to make sure that there is a lot of controversy about it.
The belief is growing that when Islam does turn radical, it's because U.S. foreign policies create a vicious circle.
80% of the soldiers in Iraq were asked, why are you here? They said, for payback on 9/11, you know, even though Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11.
A person is radicalized not by the ideology of Islam, but by American U.S. foreign policy. And this is actually the objective of the quote-unquote terrorists, if you will, to get the West to show its true face in the international arena, to show itself as an imperialist power, to show itself as an ideological power that is false. And so the more they suppress domestic rights, the more they are exposed for each and every Muslim to see, and the more Muslims will take the view that we are at war with the West.
Hundreds of hate crimes have been committed since 9/11, and the end of the decade of fear is not yet in sight. Anastasia Churkina, RT, New York.